What is up YouTube, Joe here from Zephyrwargames, and I'm bringing to you guys a deck profile for Mugen Guil, Machinedramon, Guilmon, however you want to call it. So this was recommended and requested by one of the fellow viewers here, so big shout outs to you, along with what is already up on the channel, the Wicked Guil deck as well. So hope you and everybody else enjoys these videos and these profiles. So this is a take, as you couldn't probably tell by the deck name, a take on Machinedramon that utilizes the Digimon Groundmon package, which currently, hopefully, or maybe, I don't know, depending on your point of view, isn't hit by the upcoming ban list, depending on when this video comes out. And who knows, maybe this deck will change if maybe Groundmon X gets hit or something. I don't know, who knows. But yes, so again, this is taking Machinedramon and utilizing that package as a way, along with the Wicked Dex Chimeramon, to spawn out a cheap Machinedramon, which you can use to do whatever you want, whether it's want to be on defensive, you're a more control player, or more aggressive, hyper aggro. As you can see, I built my deck to be a bit more hyper aggressive, because the game is that it seems like if you're not hyper aggressive, you have to be super control, and if your super control isn't that strong to compete with the aggro, then you're just going to be climbing up an uphill battle. So this is again just my personal take on it, with the testing I have done. As you can probably tell by the sleeves, they're a bit all over the place, because I kind of got Machinedramon in a more pure build, as I'm currently just enjoying that just a little bit more. But who knows, maybe I'll go back to Wicked Guil, I don't know, we'll see. Or Mugen Guil. But yes, so if you enjoyed this profile, if you give us a like down, subscribe down below. If you enjoyed this video and everything, give us a like and subscribe down below, that's better. And ding that notification bell as well, because if you enjoy a person's content here on YouTube, you don't want to miss out on their content, and that notification bell helps prevent that. And all of the support is greatly appreciated, and we thank you guys so much for doing so. So let's get into Mugen Guil. So I'm going to run through the Guilmon package pretty quickly, because it's kind of self-explanatory. If you've seen any Guilmon packages out there for any other red or purple based decks, they're kind of like pretty much all the same, minus like 1 or 2 cards. So my engine is obviously going with the promo Digimon for the recursion. We have the BT21 Guilmon for the draw and trash and draw, as well as the memory back, which is super important. And then we have 2 copies of BT5 Guilmon for the spawning back from your Groundmon X, and you can pop it for another additional memory. And then the Run Rush Guilmon, because if you can get the Rush Guilmon for game, you can do so. Other builds sometimes, and other players sometimes taking two of copies of Guilmon X for the additional free draw on top of a Guilmon and a potential search. I personally don't play it. It just doesn't sit well for me personally. If anything, I would probably maybe up this or one of these by 1. If I wanted to up the Guilmon counts a little bit more, but I can also arguably see merits for it. Another potential tech you could play is the older Guilmon X, as a way to pop potential floodgates, which decks for like this and maybe Wicked Guil can't gain memory. Floodgates could potentially hurt you, and also can't reduce play costs as well. So maybe that is a potential option as well for you. But this is just personally what I'm currently playing. In testing, I haven't seen too much of an issue using this ratio. Sometimes you are missing a Guilmon, but like, I don't know. It's just sometimes the luck of the dice. For the Groundmons is 4 copies of BT21 Groundmon for, again, the milling and the memory inherent, and 4 copies of the busted one, and the one that kind of glues it all together is Groundmon X. Being able to spawn back a rookie when your stack gets deleted, it allows you to then pop the newly played rookie for you to play out your Machinedramon. The other glue to the deck is 4 copies of BT19 Chimeramon. This is kind of like along Groundmon X how the whole entire engine works. You make your stack with Chimeramon, delete itself, delete your 3 of your opponent's bodies, spawn back the rookie, delete the rookie, and play back your Machinedramon from trash. All very nice effects and just kind of like how it all works. So that's the Guilmon package. As you can see, it's pretty much bare bones the same as for my Wicked Guil list. Nothing's really changed in this area. It all is fine-tuned. It does exactly what it needs to do and just sits comfortably within a Machinedramon deck because it all supports Machinedramon through the Chimeramon. So because of Machinedramon, we need to have some cyborgs in this deck. So we don't play as many because we need to make space for the Guilmon package. So we're playing 1 copy of Megadramon from EX9, 1 copy of Growlmon X and War Growlmon, and War Growlmon from BT21, 1 copy of EX9 Metal Greymon, EX9 Metal Tyrannomon, EX9 Metal Mamamon, and Metal Tyrannomon. And my personal take is 1 copy of BT19 Metal Greymon. So these are the cyborgs I run in this deck. As you can see, there's 7 cyborgs in this deck, which doesn't seem like a lot for Machinedramon decks, but in this kind of style, it's more than enough. Because you're playing Machinedramon for free, and this build focuses on the EX1 Machinedramon, you don't really need to have that many cyborgs to reduce this play cost. You just need to kind of like have enough for you to pull off your plays and pull off your combos. So you just need to play just the bare bones. So you kind of like go through your cyborg layouts and you kind of like just pick the ones that personally sit your personal playstyle and how you want this deck to do. The main important ones I would say are these 3 here. Is the Megadramon from EX9 for the trying to delete yourself to unsuspend so you can get an additional check. As well as the War Growlmon X for the security tap +1. And the War Growlmon for on delete trash your opponent's top security. So for the War Growlmon, it's not so much the inherent, it's just that it's another cyborg name that is called Growlmon. And so the reason that is important is because it combos very well with your BT19 Guilmon to be able to on-play trash a Growlmon name to draw 2 cards. So you can actually trash these 2 cyborgs, not only fueling your cyborg numbers in your trash for your Machinedramon to spawn back, but you're also having a valid target within archetypes for your Guilmon to actually give you some form of consistency. So there's another form of weird glue that just kind of like meshes the 2 playstyles together in a very nice and unique way. The other pieces that I personally picked are kind of like 3 pieces that can reduce their play cost to a little bit less of a brick in the hand, that all have very strong effects, being piercing, so if your opponent blocks you to try and stop you from winning, you're still doing security checks. Another way to unsuspend at the end of your turn. And then also the Metal Greymon here for the extra additional security attack. The other spicy tech I personally picked in kind of like testing pure Machinedramon, and I'm actually quite liking, is the BT19 Metal Greymon for the Blue Flare deck. The reason I like this in the Blue Flare, from the Blue Flare deck to be in Machinedramon, is that it's another black level 5 cyborg that gives you on-play rush. So this combos very well with your EX9 Machinedramon, so that when you trigger a tucked in cyborg's on-play effect, if you don't have Attack of the Heavy Mobile, you're actually gaining the ability from Attack of the Heavy Mobile through your on-play rush. This is just a spicy tech I personally like. It just gives the deck a bit more flexibility in that you're not having to see an option card for your deck to work in order to your big guy to do some swings. You are actually doing some in archetype cyborg mechanics, which are a bit more searchable in the deck. So this is my personal 7 cyborg lineup for the deck. We're going to move on to the megas now. We're taking 1 copy of Promo Gallantmon. Here's just another way to on-play rush to go for a game. For the Machinedramons, we're playing 3 copies of EX1 Machinedramon, the main big hitter of the deck. As we all know what Machinedramon now does. On play, you can tuck 5 to gain 5 memory, and then he gains all the effects, and if he would be destroyed, and he can't have his DP reduced, you can trash 2 cyborgs to prevent his destruction. We're playing 2 copies of the EX9 Machinedramon as another form of a Machinedramon backup. So this guy is still fairly new. So if you don't know what this guy does, is that he can assemble for 6. So you can minus 6 memory by tucking in 4 level 5 cyborgs in their trait in different names from your trash under it as to reduce his play cost. This is another reason why we're playing different various names. So he has an on-play when digivolving and when attacking once per turn by placing level 5 cyborg trait from your hand or trash as to this Digimon's top evolution card. You can activate 1 on-play that Digimon card has. And then all turns when this card will leave the battle area by trashing its bottom 2 face down cards or sideboard trait Digimon, you can prevent it from leaving. It's just another way, another body that you can spawn back. Obviously, you're not going to get rid of cost reduction because, you know, you're playing it for free of Chimeramon, but you still want to be able to assemble to get those inherits, and then you can start gaining more on-play effects depending on what you target. And then we're playing 2 copies of Chaosdramon X to help fulfill the OTK strategy. So, you know, we need to have that Chaosdramon X in here for that kind of play. Moving on to the Tamers, we're playing 4 copies of Analog Youth. You know, just a nice form of consistency. This deck is all about your trash, you know, even though it's not really a full purple deck. You know, they really wanted to make Machinedramon a trash-oriented deck, but not put him in the color purple. So we need to help that kind of consistency, so Analog Youth fits in perfectly. Combos super well with the Chimeramon, and in my opinion is part of the Chimeramon Guilmon package if you're trying to utilize this strategy. We're playing 3 copies of the EX9 Analog Man, further memory gain, further draw power, and allowing you to set your memory to 3, which is absolutely perfect for a deck like this. 2 copies of Attack of the Heavy Mobile Digimon. If you want to play more copies of this, you can go and do so. As I've already explained, I'm not playing more copies of this as I'm using the Metal Greymon as a form of pseudo Attack of the Heavy Mobile for that case. 4 copies of Garnet Members. We want to see our Guilmon package. We want to see every card essentially in our deck. Every card in our deck is either black or red. So Garnet Members is an absolute perfect fit in this deck, allowing us to see those Digimon and actually do our plays. The last card in the deck, which would probably be things like Guilmon X, if you wanted to go a bit more into the Guilmon package, if you're feeling like you're not seeing rookies enough, or any of those kind of cards. But I'm taking in 3 copies of Ultimate Connection, just as another form of consistency, another form of memory gain. And if it comes out of security, it could potentially pass you a turn and get your turn back from your opponent. But that, guys, is the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed it. You know, I kind of like went through it kind of quickly, but to me personally, I've done a lot of profiles on Machinedramon. I've done a lot of profiles utilizing the Guilmon package. So it's kind of like a self-explanatory on what these cards do. But it's kind of like me now going through, sorry, why these 2 engines mesh well so well together, allowing you to get consistent trashing effects from your Guilmons, free memory if they are deleted, a free Machinedramon from your trash with the Chimeramon. Just all combos and synergizes very well with what Machinedramon actually wants to do, which is I want to get my big machine dragon on the board as quickly as possible and the most memory efficiently as possible. So being able to utilize a consistent and memory efficient engine just kind of like ticks all the boxes that Machinedramon likes and wants to have in its deck. And if it sits and suits your kind of comfortable and play style, you can do very well with a deck like this, at least at locals. And if you're really taking it and really upping its consistency and really narrowing it down to your kind of play style, you can maybe even taking it to a regionals and probably do quite well with it. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed it. You leave your comments down below what you think of this. Are you playing this style of Machinedramon? Are you going more towards a purist Machinedramon, just cyborg consistency and control? I would like to hear your thoughts down below. As always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Actually, one more thing. Would you still play the Guilmon package if Groundmon X goes to 1? I'd like to hear your thoughts about that. Do you think the entire engine would be dead? Do you think you can still maybe find a way to get the consistency back through things like memory boost and trainings? So once you see that 1 Groundmon X, you can just keep on recycling it. I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, as always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.